Okay then, haven't posted for a while, so this is my second video of 2024. Right, why it's important to look back at our previous work and in some cases re-edit it. So why would you want to look back at your work? First of all, obvious reasons. See how you've got to where you are now. That's obvious. That's a good place to start. You can see your own evolution in your photography skills as well as your editing skills as well. Now, of course, a lot of modern photographers, they didn't start in film like I did. You started in digital, so when you learnt how to use digital camera and develop your own skills, photography skills, and your own style, I suppose. At the same time, you also learnt how to edit, how to use software. Now, this is something for me that was on a different timeline, the editing as to the photographic skills. You see, because I come from film photography to start with. I learnt film photography almost 20 years before the first professional digital camera came out. I was using a film camera, and it wasn't until I actually did my degree in 2009, when I started my degree in 2009, that I started to move from what was essentially JPEGs. I never shot RAW before then, so that's only 11 and a half years ago, to be fair. So I went from using JPEG only to RAW. Now, you may think, oh yeah, but you could still edit JPEGs. Yes, but JPEGs don't offer the flexibility that a RAW file does. So all the photos you're seeing in this video, they were shot in a 6-year period from 2013 to 2019, and I basically last year I went back and I re-edited them from the RAW files, not from a DNG file, which I use as an interim step before making JPEGs, because having a DNG file, a full-size DNG file, means that I can make them to different sizes depending on what platform or what media I'm going to send them to. So if I'm sending them on to, say, Instagram, I don't need a full-size JPEG file. I only need a 4K resolution JPEG file set to a certain size, and that can reduce the size of the file that's then uploaded and how long it takes to get uploaded considerably. So that's the reason why I make DNG files. But I chose not to go back to the DNG files and edit them. I chose to go back to the actual RAW files themselves. And it's very interesting because some of these photos were taken on a 5D Mark II and a 50mm USM 1.8 lens back in 2013, and they hold up very, very well, I have to say, when I came to re-edit them, because obviously the software has come on leaps and bounds since I first did those edits back in 2013. And that's the other thing with doing a retrospective look back at your work. If you feel that you could have edited the photo better, well, go back and edit it. That's the benefit of digital these days, especially when you shoot RAW. The benefit is all these improvements that they make to software, so like better noise reduction, because they brought that in Lightroom very recently, a new level of noise reduction, which I've used for some photos I took last September, and I was quite shocked how good they were. There was a minimal amount of loss of sharpness that isn't noticeable unless you pixel peep, and that's the thing. You also have the upscaling capability now in Lightroom. I only ever use Lightroom, by the way, if anybody's asking. All these were edited in Lightroom, nothing else. So yes, you have that, and another benefit from software upgrades is you'll also be able to see a lot of these were shot with a Fujifilm X-T3, and Lightroom is quite notorious in handling Fujifilm RAW files. It doesn't quite handle them the same way, and that's because of the design of, I think it's the design of the sensor. The RGB part of the sensor is not set up in the same way that a one on a Canon or a Nikon is, or even a Sony for that matter. So I think Lightroom has got better at handling them. I certainly found it easier to edit the X-T3 RAW files this time around than I did at the time. So yeah, they've obviously done something, but I have a preset for those as well, which, because for some bizarre reason in Lightroom it adds 40% on sharpening when you import them, unless you have a special import to get rid of that, and I have a special import to get rid of that because I don't like, it's far too much sharpening for my liking. So yes, so there's the software aspect, but there's also your development as a photographer, as an artist, that you have to take account of as well. So like it was only while I was doing my master's degree in 2020 and 2021 that I finally settled on a kind of a methodology style of photography for my documentary style photography, and the sort of thought processes that went through that editing I brought into the re-editing of these studio portraits. And it is, for me, obviously it's noticeable, but it's more than that. It's not just that you develop as a photographer, as an artist. You also, your tastes might change as well, your photographic tastes, and you might look at a photo that you thought was great, and then a finished photo that you think's great, and then when you look at it again you think, you know what, it's not so good. I wish I hadn't done this, I wish I hadn't done that. And I was very much a victim that a lot of young photographers, well, I'd say young beginner photographers do, which is over edit. And when I say over edit, you can tell you can spot an over edited photo straight off. They go nuts with the contrast, or they go nuts with the bird, with all sorts of different settings. So it might be the clarity, or of course you've got texture now, and dehaze, vibrance, all sorts of different things that you can adjust now, that you can see it, very much an HDR-ish type look. Some of my earlier work that I look at now and I think, oh God, I wish I hadn't done that. So with some of these portraits, I definitely, with the earlier ones, the first shoot back in 2013, I definitely over edited a few of those. And so yeah, I've gone back, re-edited them, and I didn't necessarily re-edit the same photos that I edited, that I'd done the first time round. I mean, a lot of them are, but yeah, there were definitely a few that I reckon I passed over and went, no, I don't want to do that one, I want to do that one. So yes, and yeah, so it's not just sort of like your old work. You might be thinking differently about your whole approach to photography in general now might be completely different to what it was when you took the photos before. So it's always good to look back and wonder, did I do this right? Did I do that right? In the case of these portraits, I think a lot of the lighting, you can see a lot of the lighting is different from the early ones to the later ones. I definitely like isolating my subject more. I found that to be really good. And when shooting women, I tend to like to focus on the face and the eyes. Definitely the eyes. But some of the gents, it's more detail. So you might see in photographs, especially of the older gentleman in my photos, I've gone a bit to town with the details, with his beard and the folds in his skin. I just love those kinds of details in a face. So yeah, whereas the ones with the beauty dish reflecting in both of his glasses, I did that on purpose to make it look like he's got eyes in his glasses, some weird thing like that. So yeah, but I think the lighting's not been too bad in all of these really, because I like to isolate my subject, and yeah. So yes, I'm going a bit off on a tangent there slightly. So yes, as I was saying, looking at a sort of retrospective, looking back at your work, can actually inform you on future work. You can go, well, I had this great idea back in 2015, 2014, and it didn't quite work out right because I didn't do this right, or I didn't do that right. I found, and now you've got a new project, and you can go, I'm going to take this idea and I'm going to put it in a new project, and it's going to work better because it's going to I can mould it in with my knowledge that I've gained since I took that photo, and make a better photo. So you can recycle some of your ideas, some of your concepts that maybe didn't work out because you didn't have that knowledge level that you have now. So there's that aspect as well. And yeah, so I think I'm going to leave it there for now. It's just a short one this time. I hope you've enjoyed the photos. Please do like and subscribe. I'm going to try and do more videos like this. I've got a whole backlog of stuff that I'm going to be going back to and having a look and seeing if I can re-edit them better now than I did back then. I've got a whole load of sort of like motocross stuff, for example, that took 9 years ago almost now, and that definitely could do with a new re-edit, because I definitely over edited those photos in the first place. So yes, so you'll be seeing some more of this stuff. Now when I do talk about those specific ones, I'm going to talk more about the differences, I think, between what I did then and what I've done now. So yes, anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, goodbye.